After what seemed to be like a whole day of hell, everyone could finally leave and go home. Students rushed to pack their things and hang out with their friends. Some even rushed to go home and catch up with their deadlines. However, one student didn't seem to be in a rush at all. Instead, she appears to be calm, relaxed, and neutral, as if the fact that she could finally go home did not bother her. Her name was Maria. Maria's eyes wandered around, watching as the room slowly emptied before she finally left. She wasn't in a rush after all. What's there to be in a hurry about anyway? It's not like she had many friends for her to hang out with after class. And besides, even if she did, she most probably would still decline their offer and prioritize her schoolwork. She walked on, from the noisy hallways to the quiet stairs, from the quiet stairways to the main lobby filled with a big crowd of students, and finally, from the main lobby to the front gates. Maria proceeded to walk her usual route back home. It's nothing new, really. However, as she continues on, she finds herself bumping into someone who mistook her as someone they knew. That someone so happened to be a young lady around her 20s. With a grin, the lady speaks. Maria could only glance at the lady in confusion. She did not know a single thing about this lady.
Pasensya na po, pero hindi ko po kayo kilala.
She says, waving her hands, perhaps in an attempt to let the lady know that she might have gotten the wrong person. After a minute of silence, Maria started to walk away. The lady didn't seem like she had something else to say anyway, and she didn't want to make the situation much more awkward than it already was. Just a few steps away from the lady, it seemed that the lady spoke again, although this time, what she said seemed rather odd. Something that didn't sound like what the usual people would say after bumping into someone they mistook for someone else. Maria was a few steps away from the old lady when she heard her whisper something unusual.
Bilisan mo ang takbo, ilagan mga bombang nakatutok sa ulo mo. Tumalon ka, dumaba kung kailangan, at baka tamaan pa ng mga bala.
She was shocked and confused by that statement. Maria hesitantly asked the lady what she meant, but she just stared and smiled mischievously, then left. Maria was scared and didn't move after she ensured the old lady wasn't around anymore. As she continued to walk, a man suddenly bumped into her and spilled coffee on her shoes.
Ano ba yan, Manong? Isusuot ko pa uli bukas tong sapatos ko,
said Maria. But she did not get any response from the old man as he decided to walk away while looking at her, smirking. Maria didn't know what to do. Her shoes were all dirty, and she tried not to overthink the unfortunate events she was experiencing and the meaning of what the old lady had told her. A young, scrawny man sees Maria distracted, trying to clean off her shoes on the street, and sees her as an easy victim for his mischievous deeds. He sneaks up behind her and mutters,
Nasa ulap ba ang iyong mga mata? Mukhang malayo ang iyong pagtingala.
Then he quickly pulls out both a knife and pistol, demanding Maria to hand over everything she has. Maria, quick on her feet, whips around and sees that both the knife and gun are mere plastic replicas meant for playing with. Her instincts take over, and she plants one powerful kick straight into the man's face.
Hoy! Nakipag-away ka sa maling babae.
Astonished, the robber drops his fake weapons with blood dripping down his face as he scuttles away. The robber ran into a hidden alleyway and suddenly started morphing back into the original form. The manggagawa who had cursed Maria. One can see their face contorted with anger, shrieking.
My plans have been ruined. Someone must have been protecting that girl and used magic to turn my weapons into toys.
Maria, unaware of the robber's true form, shakes off the event by recalling what that mysterious person told her and proceeds to continue her daunting journey back home. After having gone through a series of unfortunate events on her walk home, our main character takes a moment to pause and catch a breath, visibly in disbelief and confusion. With her breath hitching, she cautiously looks around to survey the area for any possible danger. Maria only really wanted to get home from campus after a long day. Why were these things happening to her? Just when she thought things couldn't get any worse, the rain starts to pour. Maria immediately pulls out her umbrella, and during this spur of the moment, she feels her pocket and notices that there was a hole and that her phone had fallen out. She frantically looked around, but it was nowhere to be seen.
Di talaga inasahan magkagulot, magkagulatan.
She thinks as she defeatedly accepts her fate, considering how the previous events had been tiring enough. Maria had just arrived at her house, weary and drained from a day filled with one misfortune after another. As she entered her home, she let out a tired sigh, longing for the solace of her safe space. Unbeknownst to her, a mysterious figure had been shadowing her every move throughout the day, the very source of her string of bad luck. It followed her relentlessly, orchestrating the chaos that had disrupted Maria's life. As she settled in her cozy living room, Maria couldn't shake the uncanny feeling of being watched. She turned to glance out of the window. There, in the inky blackness, she made out a faint figure obscured by the night. A shiver ran down her spine as the realization sank in. Someone or something had been following her all day. Panic welled up within her as she mouthed the chilling words.
Gal na kitang sinusundan, tinititigan.
Terrified and desperate to escape the malevolent entity, Maria fled her house. She raced through the quiet labyrinthine alleyways. Her heart is pounding, and her breath is coming in frantic gasps. But to no avail. No matter how quickly she tried to run and escape, the malignos remained before her heels. With each turn and corner, her exhaustion and fear grew, and she couldn't shake the eerie feeling of being chased. As Maria ran and ran, she finally reached a dead-end corner. Panic welled up within her tired and breathless body. As she gasped for breath, her sweaty back pressed against the cold, unforgiving wall cluttered with posters and graffiti. Desperation and terror painted her face as she realized there was nowhere left to run. The sinister maligno was closing in, its evil presence suffocating her. As the figure slowly gets closer, it starts multiplying itself. 1 becomes 2, becomes 4. It became so many that Maria didn't even bother counting them anymore. Crying, Maria just stood there, her back against the wall, and accepted her fate that this is how her unfortunate life will end. But then suddenly, just when Maria believed that all hope was lost, a sudden bright light flashed before her closed eyes. The faint moonlight outlining her head intensified, and before her formed a radiant, luminous figure. It was the woman who she bumped into and warned her earlier. With a voice as assuring and comforting as the morning breeze, the woman before her uttered,
Huwag kang matakot, di mo pa alam, nandito lang ako sa iyong tabi.
While trying to fend off the entities, the woman revealed to Maria her unique origin. She was a changeling, a being with the power to control the ether. She is the primordial one, the one who is destined to be the queen of Celestia. These entities that had been following her and causing these unfortunate events sought to prevent her from realizing her true nature. In an astonishing display of supernatural might, the woman used her magic to confront the entities surrounding her. With every burst of radiant energy, the entities started blasting into dust one by one. Like a beacon of light, the woman's magic proved triumphant, banishing each of the entities before them. The dark presence dissolved into the night, leaving nothing but specks of dust as it strays. As the malevolence subsided, the subtle luminance of the moonlight started to immerse the damp alleyway, and as the dawn's first light gradually broke over the city, the woman turned to Maria with a comforting smile. As they make it out of that place, the woman explains to Maria her destiny as a changeling, an acceptance of her newfound identity and the responsibilities that come along with it. Maria decided to come with the woman, and with her guide, Maria begins her journey to fulfill her extraordinary destiny, leaving behind her mundane life and stepping into a world where her unique powers can shape her fate and of the world.